This week's episode of Humanist Trek is brought to you in part by Droxine. Are you tired of battling tough stains that just won't budge?
Let's go!
Say goodbye to the struggle and hello to a laundry revolution with Droxine. Droxine is the ultimate laundry solution designed to tackle even the most stubborn stains with ease. With its powerful stain-fighting formula, Droxine penetrates deep into fabric fibers to lift and dissolve stains, leaving your clothes looking fresh and bright. Droxine leaves behind a long-lasting, invigorating fragrance that infuses your clothes with a burst of freshness you'll love.
Let's go!
Plus, Droxine is environmentally friendly, so you can enjoy a powerful clean while being kind to the planet. And the best part? Droxine is so easy to use, even a troglodyte can use it. Say hello to cleaner, fresher clothes with Droxine. Droxine, where every wash is a win for the wealthy cloud people.
Perhaps I could use this as an excuse to go to those far-off planets with little polka-dotted people if necessary, and be able to talk about love, war, nature, God, sex, all those things that go to make up the excitement of the human condition.
I'm Captain James Kirk.
Spock.
Your move, Captain.
Jim Kirk of the Enterprise.
What's going on? I'm James Kirk. These people are my friends and my shipmates. Leave my crew alone.
Out of the question.
How about that?
James Kirk.
It fits like a glove, Captain.
Oh, the bonehead ideas.
Gentlemen, I'm Captain James Kirk. Get out of my chair. Get out of it now.
My greetings and felicitations, Captain. So good of you and your officers to, drop in. Absolutely smashing.
Nuchnech, and welcome to Humanist Trek. It's a Star Trek podcast about the humanism in Star Trek. I'm Sarah Ray.
And I'm Allie Ashmead.
And we want to remind you one more time, the Season 3/original series wrap party is fast approaching, and we want our patrons to come play fun games with us live on the air. Recorded live on the air. So if you're a patron in the Patreon, there is a post about this. You can go click and sign up. If you're not a patron, there's still time. You can join our crazy crew here and support us and come play silly games with us. This is going to be fun.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah, I think it'd be great to meet people, meet our fans that are actually faithfully listen to our ramblings every week. I mean, thank you so much. This is amazing.
And if by this point no one has signed up, ignore all that. We're going to do something else. Also, we are a little more than a month out by the time this episode comes out to Retromania in Aurora, and everybody needs to come see us at Retromania. Retromania is a fun, kind of small little event, and this year they're doing a Land of the Lost reunion. So Sid Croft, the producer, and a couple of the actors are going to be there, along with a Slee Stack. That's going to be awesome.
Oh my
gosh. Get our
gosh.
pictures with Slee Stacks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely have to. I want to be creative this time, and we'll do some sort of costume other than a uniform. We'll do the uniform, of course, but we'll do something else too.
I teased this and then I never did it because it's all still upstairs and I don't have the energy to go back up there. I need to debut to you all my next cosplay idea.
Yeah.
That's one that it's so comfortable. It is the most comfortable thing in the world.
Oh man. Well, I want one. What is it? I think I know what it is.
It is a planetarium jumpsuit.
I want one. Did you do a badge?
I did. I found this maker who apparently had like an original from the TOS prop makers and used that as the pattern to kind of reverse engineer how was it actually made originally, and then now reproduces those.
Nice.
So I got one of those. It's really cool. And this thing's so comfortable that I don't know that I want to make that a permanent fixture, the patch, right? With the hand, with the dove or whatever. So I'm thinking maybe I'll turn it into a magnet or something like the comm badges, That way I can wear that jumpsuit just because it's comfy. It's cute. I think I bought it on Amazon, which I hate doing because the corporate rich bastard disease that has plagued this world. And I don't want to contribute to that because these fucking billionaires that own Amazon and rocket companies and shit represent a severe class inequality here, especially in our country. And now we have an episode all about class inequality. And that's how I got there.
They're just sitting up there in the cloud.
Yes.
Taking our money.
Yes. Fuckers. Well, it's Star Trek, the original series, season 3, episode 21, The Cloud Minders.
Sir, contact with an object. It's moving toward us. No visual contact yet.
Deflectors, full intensity.
Mr. Sulu, yes, Captain. Anything on your scanners?
It's coming at light speed.
Collision course. Visual contact.
Anything, over?
All wavelengths dominated by ionization effects, sir.
All engines full stop.
This episode opens on the Enterprise warping through space, and the captain's log sets up this week's mission. There's a planet nearby that's experiencing a botanical plague that will destroy all vegetation unless they can get a hold of some Xenite, which unbelievably exists in only one place in the known universe.
Apparently,
Come on.
A planet called Ardana, and they have to get this mineral to protect against this botanical plague. And I guess it's like, I don't know, locusts? I don't know. It's eating all the crops. It's eating everything, apparently.
Uhura's back this week.
Yay!
And she's got a call from the High Advisor of Ardana. They're ready to receive Kirk on Stratos, the Cloud City. And Kirk's like, hang on, that can't be right. And he calls up Scotty in the transporter room to ask what coordinates he's got programmed in. And they're set for the entrance to the mine, not the Cloud City. So Kirk tells Uhura to call back and I'd rather skip the pleasantries. Let's get right to the mine because time is urgent.
Time is of the essence. He's like, we'll catch up with them later, send our apologies. So then they beam down to the planet, to the originally discussed location in front of the mines. Spock and Kirk see this floating city in the sky, which I thought was, it's obviously remastered because it's like really good CGI.
Yeah.
And Spock is marveling at this society is totally intellectual. All forms of violence have been eliminated. And the people who mine the Xenite are called troglodytes, which I kept wanting to say troglodytes.
That was the first thing I thought of. So on the foam rock playset, Kirk points to the mine entrance, but there's no Xenite to be found. And there's a spectacular crane shot here that brings the camera from ground level, from up behind some rocks to this elevated position looking down on Kirk and Spock, which gives the feeling that they're being watched. Very effective.
Nice.
Spock thinks that the troglodyte miners must have changed their mind about delivering the Xenite. And sure enough, some leather straps fly into frame, ensnaring our heroes. And
in a lasso? Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe a little weak sauce. And at the other end of those straps are clearly miners. They're all wearing dirty, dusty jumpsuits, most of them wearing red, but the lead miner is wearing this bluish purple. And the visors on their eyes look a lot like the visors from the
I was gonna say that.
The Medusan.
The Medusan episode, they have these sort of thinner Geordie sort of glasses, but they do have glasses and bandanas.
The establishing shot here is what looks like an old dried up riverbed. And I looked this up. This is the Hadramaut Plateau Dry River Basin in southern Yemen.
Oh.
This photo was taken on the Gemini 4 orbital mission in 1965. This is a NASA photo.
Wow. Okay. So I didn't read this, and I didn't know that if this is real or remastered. So this is the actual, maybe they cleaned it up a little bit, but this is the actual photo from back then.
Yep. right back into the action. Kirk demands to know who these people are. Says, look, we're here with the permission of the government. We're on an emergency mission. But the lead miner, a woman, tells him to move it along. But this just kicks off a big old Star Trek fight.
Star Trek fight!
Man, we haven't had one of those in like so many episodes. Do you know how long it's been since we had a good old Star
it's been
Trek
a while.
fight?
Yeah. During this fight, 3 people materialize on this platform that they beam down on. And these costumes, there's like shower cap head pieces or something. What is that?
So Placis is the high whatever in the cloud, and then he has his 2 sentinels. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the sentinels and the hats. Yeah.
Hey, they were almost done. They're like, they were like close to the end of the series.
So Placis yells at the troglodytes to stop, but they scurry away, and one of the guards licks a shot off that stuns one of the troglodytes.
Placis says, go away or leave or I'll shoot. But then he shoots the guy in the back anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and again, I want to remind you of what Spock said, that they've eliminated violence.
They sure have. Yeah. Sure looks like it.
But Placis, whatever, he apologizes to Kirk for the unpleasantness that they've experienced. And he explains that the Trogs, I'm going to call them Trogs, are really violent and they're going to be punished. But Kirk is like, fine, whatever. I just want to know where the Xenite is. It's not where we had agreed it was going to be. And then Placis talks about this group called the Disruptors. Apparently, it's sort of like a rebel faction of the Trogs. And they've confiscated it and they're refusing to mine the Xenite. So their agreement for the delivery was a ruse to gain a valuable hostage, which is Kirk and Spock. And they were going to try to force the council to meet their demands. He doesn't say what their demands are, and we kind of gloss over that, but Placis invites them to the Cloud City while the Sentinels search for the Xenite.
Placis is played by Jeff Corey, who guest appeared in like everything.
He did not look familiar.
Planet of the Apes? No, Beneath the Planet of the Apes. I guess his big claim to fame was 1969 Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid as Sheriff Bledsoe. I don't know it, but I don't know. He was in an episode of Murphy Brown, Babylon 5, Charmed.
Okay, Charmed. I love Charmed.
Santa Barbara. Roseanne.
No, hated Roseanne.
War of the Worlds. The A-Team. I mean, you name it. This dude had an episode.
I just need to see a picture of
Newhart, Simon and Simon.
He didn't look familiar.
So Placis, Kirk, and Spock materialize up in the Cloud City. And as they look down at the Hadramat, sounds like laundromat, Hadramat dry river basin, Spock remarks on his fascination with the anti-gravity elevation that this city employs. They descend the stairs as Placis's daughter, this week's Star Trek sex object, arrives.
Jesus, I want to make that dress.
I knew you would.
Oh my God. I mean, all of the costumes is beautiful material, just an absolutely gorgeous dress.
Okay. She's wearing this shimmery aqua outfit. Gene loved this shit. This is another one of those like cross halter boob tops. Like
it's just cupping her boobs. Like there's nothing holding it but the cross in the back. There's nothing holding it.
Like if you told a costumer to literally make an over the shoulder boulder holder, this is what he would make.
Yeah.
This is what they would come up with. This outfit also includes a like sheer skirt and this pleated cape. Yeah.
That flowed along as she walked. I was like, I am gagging for this outfit. It's beautiful.
Droxine is this character, played by Diana Ewing. Mod Squad, Mission Impossible, Love American Style, Gunsmoke, and some other appearances. But she only spent about 10 years in the industry. Placis introduces his daughter as one of the planet's most incomparable works of art. She exchanges pleasantries with Kirk, and Placis introduces Spock, and she says, I have never before met a Vulcan. And Spock says, nor I a work of art. Ooh, get it, Spock.
I was like, yay, finally. She doesn't have it hasn't given Captain Kirk a thought. It's time. It's
Spock's turn.
As they're talking, Classes decides he's going to show them around and, point out some artwork that's in the, I don't know what you call it, castle, palace, whatever that is. And he happens to see a miner's tool embedded in one of the pieces of art. And he's like, those disruptors. According to Placis, these disruptors are trying to keep them in constant turmoil in order, again, to force the council to meet their demands. And again, we don't know what those demands are. And Kirk, Kirk does ask what they are, but Placis says, you know what? They're completely unreasonable. Trust me. Nothing you need to be concerned about. And Kirk insists that he needs to concern himself with whatever is keeping him from getting the Xenite. Placis is going to give them a place to rest while they wait for the Xenite to be found. And then Droxine has a little chat with her dad.
Yeah, they go back up that staircase, back up to the platform overlooking the planet, and they have a conversation about how unfortunate this all is with the, disruptors. And it seems to be getting worse by the day. Definitely worse as the approach of the Enterprise. So then Droxine's like, do you think that Captain Kirk and that sexy-ass Vulcan will think us responsible for all of this?
And her dad is like, oh, all this time I thought you were worried about our diplomatic relations, but you worried about your relations.
Mm-hmm. Just then, two guards drag a troglodyte in, and this exchange makes very clear that we are absolutely dealing with a society deeply divided by class.
This guy, this disruptor, troglodyte, whatever we want to call him, he was caught trying to leave the city. He doesn't have a transport card.
Not traveling with his papers.
Show me your papers. Mm-hmm. I need those papers. And so they're holding him. And then he asked the Sentinels to remove his shields, basically his sunglasses. And you can see that he is physically affected by the light. The troglodyte is just like, I'm just here to do repairs, but he doesn't have a repair permit either.
So he's asking this trog, like, what do you know about the disruptors? And he's like, I don't know anything about any disruptors. And Placis is like, well, then you need to increase your knowledge. And he says, that is not possible for a troglodyte. You Stratos city dwellers say it all the time. So here we go.
They're not believing anything he says, so they're about to torture him. Placis says, take him to this thing called the rostrum, which we don't know what that is yet, but it sounds pretty bad. But it's so bad that the troglodyte breaks free and jumps off the side of the fucking cloud building.
Like an Acme cartoon Bugs Bunny character plunging down to the planet.
So whatever the rostrum was, he would rather face death than to do that. So he basically kills himself.
He plunges to the planet, and all Placis says is, how unfortunate.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the guest room, Kirk appears to be napping while Spock meditates in a chair, and we get a Spock voiceover describing a very familiar haves and have-nots situation.
Have we ever heard his inner thoughts? I mean, we've heard it. Well, we've heard a captain's log, obviously, but we've never heard him just sitting and thinking. These are like Spock's inner thoughts as he's like reflecting on meeting Droxina and what's her name? Droxine. And
it sounds like a drug.
Which a horrible name.
Take 500 milligrams of Droxine.
Or it sounds like a cleaner. Tough stain, use Droxine. I mean, so it's a terrible, this is the ugliest name. I'm sorry, but it's an ugly name.
It's a terrible name.
In his meditation, he talks about how she's as beautiful as her name. I'm like, well, Jesus Christ. Because he's saying this troubled planet is a place of the most violent contrast. Those who receive the rewards are totally separated from those who shoulder the burden. It is not a wise leadership. Then he goes and talks about Droxine. Here on Stratos, everything is incomparably beautiful and pleasant. The High Advisor's charming daughter, Droxine, particularly so. The name Droxine seems appropriate for her, which
means nothing to me.
Was she ugly? I mean, because that is the ugliest name. He said something that had me thinking throughout as more of her character is revealed.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I wonder if she can retain such purity and sweetness of mind and be aware of the life of the people on the surface of the planet.
Yeah, she is very naive at this point.
Yeah. Well, we think she's naive.
Right. Spock is suddenly startled by a sound in the next room, and he goes to find Droxine, setting up for drinks or something, and this quickly turns as flirtatious as you can get with a Vulcan. She apologizes for disturbing him. He blames it on his discerning Vulcan ears. And finding each other fascinatingly different, he stares into her eyes, and she says, Vulcan eyes are very discerning too. I hear that you Vulcans are as highly as evolved as us Stratos city dwellers.
And of course, Spock is like, yeah, we do pride ourselves in logic.
During this, we see another woman kind of sneaking around in the background. She's wearing like a blue boulder holder.
Yeah.
Like the other lady. And she sneaks into the room where Kirk is resting. And as we go to commercial, she's like slowly approaching him with one of those dagger mining things in her hand.
So they're both getting a little action. When we come back from the break, Kirk wakes up suddenly, light sleeper, I guess, and grabs her arm and he pins her to the bed. And he's like, oh, it's you. And it's the woman who had initially attacked him down on the planet in front of the mine. And they struggle, foreplay, whatever you want to call it. He thinks it's foreplay. She's not enjoying it.
He's got her pinned down and she demands to be released. And he's like, why? So you can attack me again? I'm not stupid. And
yeah,
she's like, fine, then you could, if you're afraid, you could call the guards if you're a scaredy cat. And Kirk's like, oh no, I'm not afraid. In fact, I kind of find this rather enjoyable.
Very flirtatious, sort of,
Mm-hmm.
And he says, I'll make a deal. I'll let you go if you promise to behave, but I need your word first. She's like, fine, I'll answer your questions. As soon as he lets her go, she fucking grabs the weapon and tries to kill him again. So then they switch back to Droxine and Spock, and they have already moved on to discussing Ponfar. So they've moved quickly. She's
like, hold on. If we hook up, we'll only be able to fuck once every 7 years. That's it? She's like, are you sure there's nothing that could, I don't know, maybe disturb that cycle in a more frequent sort of way? And Spock sits down next to her and says, well, extreme feminine beauty is always disturbing, madam.
What's really crazy is Kirk and this woman are fighting in the next room.
And
he's supposed to have this. He didn't
Yeah.
hear shit. He's supposed to have this great hearing, and he doesn't hear anything. But he's distracted. I get it.
Very distracted. He's showing a lot here,
Mm-hmm.
surprisingly.
In the other room, though, Vanna and Kirk, this lady's name is Vanna, and she didn't come there to kill him. She just wants to take him hostage. But Kirk had already called Spock, so Spock snaps out of it, and he and Droxine rush in. And Droxine and Vanna know each other. As it turns out, she worked in Droxine's father's household, so she's sort of like a servant of some sort.
Mm-hmm. Kirk says he's learned a lot from Vanna in a short time. Apparently, the Troglodytes believe that the Enterprise is here to intimidate them. And despite his efforts to explain that they're only concerned with Xenite for this, super serious emergency mission that we're on, Vanna doesn't buy it. And this is where we really got a demonstration of just how sheltered and naive they want us to think Droxine is. Vanna says, the Troglodytes have as much right to the clouds as the Stratos dwellers. And Droxine's like, but Stratos is for advisors and studiers, smart people. What the hell would you people do here?
She says, what would troglodytes do here? Take that word out and put it insert any marginalized community in there. What would Black people do here? Or what would LGBTQ people do here? Or what would Latino people do here? Yeah, just whatever.
And what would we do there? Vanna says, we would live in sunlight and warmth as everyone should. But Droxine says they're cave people. Their eyes aren't accustomed to light, just as their minds are not accustomed to logic. She's calling these people savage in so many words.
Basically. And she doesn't even see anything. The thing that makes it so dangerous is that she's not doing it with any vitriol. She's just she's saying this as if this is the way it is.
Yeah, and she hasn't broken the code yet. And I was really hoping that she would by the end of this episode.
Yeah.
Right. She has the cause and effect mixed up. She thinks they're kept in caves because their eyes aren't accustomed to light and they're not smart enough. But it's the other way around.
Exactly.
Even Kirk is like, you don't actually deny those people sunlight and warmth, do you? That's like a crime against humanity. Like, you can't do that. All life needs that.
And she reasons again. She's like, they're workers. Surely you must be aware of that. They mine Xenite for shipment and till the soil. Then we can't do that up here. So somebody's got to do it. Why not it be them? And then Spock jumps in and says, so they do all the hard shit that nobody else wants to do. And then they aren't allowed to share in its advantages while you guys sit up here on your cloud, basically.
They try to make an effort here to get Droxine woke to the plight of the troglodytes, but she just cannot see past what she's always known. She says the complete separation of toil and leisure has given Ardana the perfectly balanced social system. Why would we change it?
That part. Why do we? I don't see anything wrong with it. I'm not having a problem with it. Why do we need to change it? And then for them to call it perfectly balanced social system, balance for them, this is just privilege and ignorance and willful, I guess. Like, it's privilege.
Yeah. Vanna has been taken away and strapped to this large obelisk-looking thing. And when she refuses to name the other disruptors, in fact, she outright denies that these disruptors even exist. This device lights her up, and apparently Droxine is there now because she's watching this happen.
Yeah, so she's not like complete. That's why I don't think she's that naive. She knows exactly what's happening. And again, it's always been this way.
It sure is violent for a non-violent people,
no shit.
Isn't it? In this next scene, there is on a little stand. Do you remember back in the day, there was this was like a trendy thing in these guest quarters. It's like one of these, it's like a kind of like a lamp looking thing, but it's like fiber optic. Right? You remember those?
In the 80s. Yeah.
So there's one of those sitting on this little stand.
Yeah, those fiber optic plastic things that light and change color. Man, they were huge in the 80s. 80s.
Yes.
Everyone had a lamp that did that.
And this, like, these little fiber optic things kind of start to shake, and you can hear the rays of that machine still going.
Right. And Spock and Kirk are in the room, and he's next to the fiber optic thing, and they show it like shaking, and then they just continue to sort of have a conversation.
Spock explains that troglodyte is an abbreviation of troglodyte from old Earth, meaning cave dweller, and Kirk's like, yeah, I should have realized that. I mean, I even knew that from the first time I heard it.
Yeah. That's why I kept wanting to say troglodyte, and then later, and when I got to this, I'm like, oh, that's why. Why didn't they just call them troglodytes?
Right.
That's when they hear, as they're talking about that, that's when they hear a scream from Vanna, and so they rush out to see where the screaming's coming from in this nonviolent society.
Right. And so upon seeing this torture, Kirk calls it off. Placis and Droxine both make arguments here that amount to, we beat slaves because they're stupid and violent, and that's the only thing they understand. And Spock's like, yikes. Spock says violence in reality is quite different from theory. Is it not, madam? Androxine says, but what else can they understand? And Spock's like, holy shit, lady. All the same things that you and I understand.
He's like, bitch, you're becoming uglier and uglier by the moment. Like life, equality, kindness, and justice.
You know, humanism.
I know. I love Spock so much.
Uh-huh.
But then Placis, again, with these arguments, and I think it's just important to read what they say, because all of these things we hear daily or a lot. Placis is like, troglodytes are not like us. Basically, they're not like stratus dwellers. They're a conglomerate of inferior species, The abstract concepts of an intellectual society are just beyond their comprehension.
When Kirk points to Vanna as one who seems to have understood those concepts, Placis explains that she was brought here to serve the royals, like the Sentinels. They've gotten more training than the other, at which point no one says, oh, so they can be taught?
Yeah. They don't want to see it. I mean, it's serving their purpose. Why change? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And these pesky disruptors just need to go away. And Placis is like, look, why are you so concerned with him? This doesn't even concern you. But Kirk is like, the Xenite concerns them, and also just basic humanitarianism. Placis tells him to stop interfering, but Kirk doesn't want him to get the Xenite through torture. Placis tries to shut Kirk up and say, basically, we'll get it for you. This is not your business. Go back to your ship, or I'm going to tell Starfleet Command and report your interference. So Kirk is like, fine. So they beam up, and then Placis tells his Sentinel if Kirk comes back to kill him.
Why wasn't this a Prime Directive issue?
The Prime Directive. How often have you broken it?
See, the Prime Directive has many different functions.
The Prime Directive?
There's more what you'd call guidelines than actual rules.
It's a very interesting proposition. Let me think it over.
Here we are in this people's business, and we're learning that there's class inequalities, and what right is it of us to start telling them what to do?
Are they not they are part of the Federation. How could they even be part of the Federation with all of this going on?
Right.
How the fuck did you let them in?
Right.
With all of this?
That's a great point. Yeah.
You were okay with it, but now that it's fucking with your Xenite, you'd be like, no, equality. Fuck off, Starfleet.
Back from the break, a captain's log updates the situation. 8 hours have passed, and the plague on Marek 2 is spreading rapidly. There's 12 hours on the clock. Uhura calls Starfleet with an update, and Kirk doesn't believe Placis will be successful, so he's considering interfering and winning the confidence of the Troglodyte leader himself. Reason with her. This next McCoy v. Spock argument felt really weird to me. I don't know if you felt this way too, but I also have a question about consistency. McCoy says that the troglodytes are mentally inferior, intellect ratings almost 20% below average. So he doesn't think reasoning with them will be easy. And Kirk says they have accepted personal sacrifice, a common cause. Mentally inferior beings aren't capable of that. And Spock's like, but they're all the same species. The cloud people and the minor people all originated on this planet. Didn't Placis say earlier that the troglodytes were a conglomerate of inferior species?
Yeah, he did. He did say that, actually. Can we trust what Placis says, though?
No.
I mean, I don't know why if that's the case, then Spock should have called him out right then and said, dude, you're the same species. But I don't think he said anything.
So, internal consistency aside, let's say they're the same species. Spock says that it's a basic biological law that all beings originating on the same planet would evolve similarly, both physically and mentally. Spock said that? And then McCoy comes in with the facts. McCoy's like, basic evolutionary biology tells us that different environments affect the same species in different ways. And that's the point McCoy makes. That dialogue was flipped. Spock should have been making that argument.
Yeah, I agree. they're the same species. There's obviously like intellectual, mental capacity inequality, and it's got to be environmental. So McCoy talks about that it could be that the exposure from the gas that's emanating from xenite is what's deteriorating their mental function. And this would explain their decreased mental capacity. But somehow he knows already that it can be reversed, regardless of how long they've been exposed. So they've grown up there their entire life in the mines, but he knows that, just take them out of it and they're fine. But that's what's making them aggressive and stunting their mental capacity.
Well, there's no way to neutralize the gas, but a filtered mask should do the trick.
Hey, a mask.
Here we go with fucking masks again. Who's got COVID this time? What was that called? Pneumococcal COVID or something? What was it called?
Synthococcus.
Yeah, Synthocovid. So it's time to get a mask and beam down to the planet for a little science experiment. But first they call up Placis to explain the plan. And he's really skeptical. He doesn't believe that a simple respiratory mask can bring about intellectual equality for the troglodytes, something that centuries of evolution has failed to do. But they've run all this through the computer for verification. And Placis asks, do your computers explain how my ancestors who dwelt in the caverns evolved sufficiently to erect Stratos while the troglodytes did not? And Spock says that his ancestors who built the Sky City were cave dwellers. The evolution happened after they left the caves. And Placis absolutely refuses to believe that. And he also won't let Kirk offer a supply of masks to the troglodytes in exchange for the xenite until his scientists can verify their findings, which could take days. And Kirk calls him on his shit. Are you afraid these masks will work? Is that why you don't want the troglodytes to have them?
Boom. It's like, what? We don't all have the same ancestry. There's no way.
I didn't come from no monkey in Africa. Yeah. That sets Placis off, so much so that he basically tells Kirk to stand down and hangs up the phone. McCoy speaks a great line here. He says, it's pretty hard to overcome prejudice. Put some pins in that.
Wow. I can't believe he said it.
McCoy, of all people.
The most prejudiced person. And honestly, though, gosh, let me think. In the last few episodes, he's been on his best behavior. I don't think he said anything.
No?
Particularly racist, maybe in the last 2 episodes.
Kirk decides to disobey the orders from Stratos to stand back and stand by or whatever, and beam down to...
Nice. Nice.
And,
is it January 6th?
Yeah. And beam down to Vanna's confinement quarters to try to convince her, give her something to help her people and hopefully win both her trust and the xenite. Spock points out, here we go again. Spock points out that under the laws of this planet, if they were to apprehend him, if he would get caught, they could put him to death. Again, these people make themselves out to be this highly evolved society and, there's no violence, but they have all this torture and the death penalty too.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they know at this point that whole nonviolence thing is bullshit. And of course, Spock does this thing that he always does is, hey, let me go instead.
Yep.
I'm the first officer. I'm expendable. And Kirk is not having it. Since they are going to be going against government orders anyway, he's going to take it.
Is this the starts of... So in the Next Generation, OSHA has been established and some new policies have gone into effect. And the new policies are the captain doesn't just beam down every episode. Right?
Yeah.
And so you get a lot of that with Picard and Riker, where Riker's like, you're the captain. You need to be here on the ship. I'll go handle the away mission or whatever. This is kind of this feels like the starts of that.
Yeah.
Spock trying to, and it's been a couple of times where Spock has been like, no, let me do the thing so that, you don't have to.
Yeah. And I guess in the past, I just thought, oh, he's just being a good friend, doesn't want anything to happen. But he's probably following procedure like he should.
Right.
Yeah. So they beam Kirk down directly into her cell. This weird cell doesn't look very secure because those bars.
The pool noodle bars on the door.
Yes, like they're shaking because you could like literally push and walk right through them.
Yeah.
But anyway, he says he brings Vanna a gift, and he starts telling her about these dangerous gas in the mines that is what's affecting the troglodytes. And if they wear the mask, this will prevent any damage. And she's like, gas? I've never seen any gas. And she can't believe that something that's not seen or felt can do so much harm, which he totally calls her on a few times later.
Yeah. Kirk responds to this challenge about the invisible gas by saying an idea can't be seen or felt either, and yet that's what's keeping your people in the mines all these centuries, a mistaken idea.
That's nice. Nice, Kirk.
Deep. This is why, so after this episode, there was a new industry standard implemented that all odorless gases must smell like skunk farts.
What are you talking about?
You know how they add a sour smell to natural gas because natural gas doesn't have an odor?
Do they add that? Or
Yeah, it's added.
It
is added at the gas factory.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. That's why you can smell it, because it naturally it wouldn't have an odor, but because it's so like dangerous, it'd blow your fucking house up. They add skunk fart smell.
I want to be on that research team. Let's get as close to skunk fart as we can.
Right.
I didn't know that. That's a really cool thing.
Yeah.
Huh. So when we have a gas leak, we know.
Right. So Kirk explains that anyone working in the mines would have to wear the masks and that he'll make sure that they get enough. She says, what if Placis does not agree? And it's clear that she's not confident about going up against the almighty government alone.
Mm-hmm.
So Kirk offers to come back and, let us go deliver the Xenite and save all these people. And then, I'll request permission to mediate on your behalf. And he's like, you got to trust me. I give you my word.
Somehow that word just means something in the galaxy. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's heard promises like that before, so she's hesitant to trust.
Of course.
She even says, back in the day, the leaders who left to build Stratos promised them that they would all live there one day, and yet here we are still in the caves.
Right. And then she's like, fine, I'll trust you. But then she tells them that the Xenite that they're looking for is deep in the caves and only known to troglodytes. And she'll take him there. But you need to trust me, not just me trust you. And just as they are about to like give their trust to each other, there's some footsteps and Kirk goes over into a corner because there's a guard coming to bring food. And so he goes over into a corner. He leaves a damn mask on the table. So she sits down and waits, and the sentinel comes in, drops the tray, knocks the mask a little bit, and he's like, hey, what's this? And then, of course, this causes Kirk to, like, shoot him. And then they get out. They leave.
Yeah, Vanna snatches the transport pass off the sentinel. And as they leave, Kirk closes the bars to the room back up, locks this guy back in the cell.
Them flimsy-ass bars, like you said, I think they are pool noodles or something.
On the surface, they go into the caves, and around a corner, Vanna picks up one of those mining tools from a rock and taps it 3 times, and a couple of miners jump out of the shadows, happy to see her. Quick hellos, and then Vanna says, oh yeah, I brought a hostage. Seize him.
Double cross. And I was kind of like happy she did it and sad at the same time, because I'm like, she's not one of those women that Kirk managed to sweet talk.
Yeah.
So that was like, yay. But then I was like, nah, dang it. She doesn't trust him.
She doesn't believe this mask nonsense any more than a bunch of red hats during a global pandemic. Kirk tries to argue, like, look, these masks are your freedom. But she's got Kirk and his heater, and that's freedom enough for her. She, got to have weapons.
And Kirk's like, well, they're going to find me. They're going to come for me. But she's like, not without your communicator. And Kirk's like, yeah, they're still going to come. But so in the meantime, she makes him kneel down and fucking dig and get a taste of what they go through on a daily basis and dig with his bare hands.
That was super important.
Ooh, yeah.
To him understanding their plight. Yeah. Spock records a log essentially saying that they have to maintain radio silence so as not to jeopardize Kirk's life. In the mines, Vanna, not understanding how this toxic exposure works, declares this invisible gas a hoax because Kirk doesn't seem to be showing any symptoms or anything. So these other guys that are there, she sends one, Anka, off with the mask to be left on the transport platform as a signal to Placis that they have Kirk as a hostage now.
What they don't realize is that Placis could care less, right, about Kirk because he was ready to kill him himself. So they don't realize that Kirk's not really that valuable.
Again, Kirk offers the masks.
But she's like, shut the fuck up and keep digging.
And they plan to keep him in the mines until they live in Cloud City. Every time I say Cloud City now, I think of you earlier saying, was it a castle? Was it a whatever? And when I think of that now, I think, here is a castle on a cloud. I like to go there in my sleep. You don't know that? That's from Les Mis. Castle on a Cloud. Oh, man.
I haven't seen it.
I think we sang that. Every year for competition when I was in school. God. Yeah. That's all I can think now.
Kirk decides to keep her talking. Like, how long do you plan on keeping me here? That kind of thing. I think he's just distracting her because he jumps her. And next thing you know, she's on her back and he's on top of her again.
Oh my.
And he gets the phaser and he shoots a rock entrance and seals them in.
This was fucking great. The look on her face, she is astonished that he would do this. What with the whole, we don't have air to breathe in here and we'll die. And Kirk's like, what? Die from something you can't see? No way.
Oh, yeah.
He whips out his StarTAC and he calls up Spock, who has been waiting for the signal and is ready to beam up the Xenite. But there's a change in plans. We still don't have the Xenite. And none of these people above or below ground feels like cooperating. So he gives Spock the order to locate High Advisor Placis and beam his ass into the mine without warning.
I'm really surprised, though, like in other episodes. Okay, they're in a cave.
Mm-hmm.
Like normally,
we can't scan through the cave to get a lock.
Right.
Yeah.
We can get a signal, and suddenly they have they can beam people in and out, and they can talk on the StarTAC too.
They can beam people in and out, but they can't find the Xenite and beam it out.
I know. Do a scan.
Right.
Like seriously. So Spock agrees to carry out his instructions. And Vanna's kind of shocked. You're going to seal Placis in here too? And he's like, yep.
Kirk's like, I've got a little science fair project I've been working on that demonstrates the effects of this invisible gas that you refuse to believe in. I just need a few minutes to get my little trifold display board set up.
So back on the bridge, Spock is talking to Scotty, and Scotty's like, you want me to what? Yeah, beam the High Advisor down with no warning. And Scotty's like, I want to see his face when we do that. And so Spock's like, well, we'll get that opportunity. So they're trying to isolate him, and they get him in the council gallery, but he's talking with his daughter, so he's not completely alone. She's upset, and she doesn't want to kind of fess up that she's upset. And she's wondering about Spock.
Is my crush ever going to come back?
Yeah, basically.
Placis says he's seen to it that they'll never return. And she's like, well, this whole Xenite thing was pretty important. That'll probably, that should bring him back. And Placis promises that they'll deliver the Xenite, even if they have to kill every last dirty troglodyte.
Peaceful society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no violence at all.
And she's totally okay with this. Like, she's oblivious.
This is how things have always been.
Right.
And that's comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But Droxine, I think, is starting to see the light now. She's starting to think maybe Kirk does have a way to undo the damage from the mines. And she starts to voice this, but her daddy doesn't want to hear it. He says he knows nothing except how to destroy our power and our society. And he forbids her from speaking of Kirk again, or even to think of him. And she's like, actually, I was kind of thinking of Spock, the other one. He really let it slip here, though, didn't he? Our power and society. He knows he's in this privileged position and does not want to give it up. Sound familiar?
Yeah. 100%. Really quick snap back to the bridge. They've located Placis, but they're two life forms, and they can't figure out which one it is, I guess. I guess. So they said to wait.
This is another one of those it works when we need it to deals.
Yeah, the convenient, it doesn't work because it doesn't work with the storyline.
Right.
So there's two figures. They know how do you know it's him?
I say beam them both. Who cares?
Right? But no, they will wait until they separate. But then they switch back to Droxine and her father. And that's when she says, well, I wasn't thinking about Kirk. I was thinking about the other one with the exquisite ears.
She's got an ear fetish. That's interesting.
But Placis is like, he's the same as his friend, And she's like, I was just thinking about him. And I wonder if I just called out to him, stood here on the balcony and called out to him, would he somehow hear me? A sentinel comes in and says that Vanna has escaped, basically, and that it was Captain Kirk that helped her escape. And he's like, see, I told you. But she's like, but they're desperate.
She justifies their actions by understanding that they are desperate, and that she understands that these are acts of desperation, I think is starting to show the shift in her character.
Yeah.
She's not wokety woke yet, but she's on the road. And she asks her father, are we so sure of our methods that we never question what we do?
Yep. I still didn't like her but yeah.
Yeah, so she's starting to get it now.
Wake the fuck up, but I didn't like her. I already didn't like her. Placis tells her to go play her music, go, do something girly, and get out of my hair. When she's questioning him about, like, should we question what we do? And then now they have him alone. So Spock immediately calls Scotty and says, get him, basically. And so Scotty has to beam him to the transporter pad only for a split second and then beam him down to the cave.
That I thought was consistent with what we've seen so far.
Yeah.
That they can't just beam you, from one place on the planet to another.
Yeah, because if they could, then that's a whole new technology that they haven't.
They discover that by Next Generation, though.
Yeah.
So Scotty's like, I got a good look at him. He looked pretty pissed off. And Spock says, oh, well, I'm sure the captain will employ his usual diplomatic balm.
That was sarcastic as fuck. I even looked at Spock's face, and he
raises his eyebrow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And of course, Placis is pissed as he's like materializes in the cave. He's like, you can't abduct a planet official and you're going to pay for this and all this stuff. And Kirk lets him know what his plan is. His plan is to basically make sure that he's under the effects of the gas, just like everybody else is. And Placis still doesn't believe that there's any effects. He's like, I've been here nearly an hour and I'm fine.
So Kirk's like, well, maybe you need closer exposure. Dig, motherfucker.
Get on your knees and dig. So he makes him and
Vanna
dig. So Spock calls down to check on him, And Kirk is like leaning against the rock with this like crazed look on his face with the phaser in his hand. And I'm like, uh-oh, he's been down there too long. Because he's like, Kirk tells Spock, your orders are to stand by, just carry them out. And he hangs up on Spock. I think he's being affected too by the gas.
Vanna's getting faint and blames the lack of oxygen, and Plassus agrees and demands Kirk beam them all out. But Kirk just steps to the advisor and commands him to dig. This escalates to name-calling and a bitch slap across Plassus's face.
And then we have another
Star Trek fight!
Plassus attacks him with the two digging tools. I guess they call them mortai. They're wrestling on the ground. Vanna grabs the communicator that Kirk has dropped, and she calls the Enterprise for help. And she's like, help. I don't know how this thing works. Somebody help. But Spock answers, and she's like, please, they're going to kill each other. Spock activates the transporter. He beams all three of them onto the pad, and Vanna immediately collapses. As they materialize on the transporter pad, they still have their hands at each other's throat. Nobody notices that she just fucking passed out, though.
Back on the planet, Droxine tells Spock she doesn't like filters or masks. Maybe the word protector would be better. And Spock's like, well, it's less technical and therefore less accurate, but call it whatever you want, I guess. Remember earlier when McCoy said it's hard to overcome prejudices? Plassus is finding it very hard in this moment. Vanna is there, and she's ready to make good on her agreement to deliver the Xenite. And Plassus is like, agreed. That's not a word in the troglodyte vocabulary. And Vanna says, the captain will have his Xenite. And Plassus says, well, no thanks to any agreement by you. It had to be obtained by force. And she says, yeah, and that's the only way we can get what's due to us. Plassus says, what about your education? Was that by force? And she rightly reminds him that her education served his purposes at the time, not hers. Kirk promises that the masks will change the troglodytes. They'll no longer suffer from retardation or emotional difficulties. Plassus thinks they will all be just like Vanna, ungrateful and vindictive. Vanna's like, yeah, well, we're just getting started on our demands. And as the Sentinels carry containers of Xenite to the platform for transport, Bernie comes around a corner and declares the obscene level of income and wealth inequality in America is a profoundly moral issue that we cannot continue to ignore or sweep under the rug. The 1% will start to pay their fair share.
I love it.
Meanwhile, Spock and Droxine are off to the side having their own little moment. She's afraid to leave the beauty and comfort she's known all her life here in Cloud City. But Spock points out that to truly experience the beauty of knowledge, you must experience all that there is to experience. So she resolves to go to the mines. And she asks if Spock's planet is like this one, and he says, it is not. No.
And she, of course, wants to visit, and he's like, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Hey, listen, don't call me, I'll call you.
So this next line by Kirk, I actually appreciate because I know we talked about other episodes that end and we never know, like, are they going to fucking help these people? Or are you going to like usher in some sort of transition? And actually, Kirk offers some sort of mediation between the two because obviously they still hate each other and it's not going to be an easy road. And I guess there's a Federal Bureau of Industrialization that can be of help to them to help mediate. But Plassus is like, no, get the fuck off my planet. As long as I rule, I don't want to see your face. So he's like, Kirk's like, believe me, I don't want to come back here either. So, and then they start arguing again.
They levy charges against each other. Well, you did this. Well, you did that. And it's Vanna that steps in, surprisingly, and suggests that perhaps they forget the incidents on both sides. Kirk and Plassus agree to this, and now it's time to get the Xenite delivered. Kirk says, I believe we only have 3 hours left, and of course Spock has to correct. 2 hours, 59 minutes to be exact, Captain. Beam us up, And off we go to the next adventure.
Boy, I'm sure glad that's over with.
I'm happy the affair is over.
Me too.
A most annoying, emotional episode.
Yeah, but you know, I learned something today.
When dreams become more important than reality, you give up travel, building, creating.
One jealous God, if all this makes a God.
By sparing your helpless enemy, who surely would have destroyed you, you demonstrated the advanced trait of mercy.
Frankly, I was rather dismayed by your use of the term half-breed. You must admit, it is an unsophisticated expression.
I liked this one too. This was a good episode for me.
It was surprisingly good.
And I think the class division shown in this episode is more true today than it was even then.
100%.
And is only getting worse.
And we are talking about it. It, like, even talking about it today, calling it out is doing no good because everybody's comfortable with, like the people at the top,
the people who could change it aren't going to vote against their self-interests.
Absolutely not. Yeah. And this is exactly what's happening. And maybe a few weeks ago, I posted this thing. It was a video of Whoopi Goldberg playing Guinan in season 2, episode 8 of TNG. And I was like, damn. She was talking about data. She was talking to Picard at the bar, and they were talking about data was a specific subject.
Well, consider that in the history of many worlds, there have always been disposable creatures. They do the dirty work. They do the work that no one else wants to do because it's too difficult or too hazardous. And an army of data is all disposable. You don't have to think about their welfare. You don't think about how they feel. Whole generations of disposable people.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, this is exactly what this episode was about.
How often do we talk about, we in the United States, broad brush criminals as like just bad, lazy people who don't want to work, but would rather just steal, take what they want, when often in reality, people are just out there trying to survive and doing what they got to do to survive.
Yeah.
Because the haves class is doing fuck all to help them.
Right.
They're comfortable in their cloud. In my castle on a cloud.
All right, I have to see Les Mis.
I can't believe you've never seen it.
No. And then as Droxine, what's the name?
Droxine, yeah.
Was saying, well, they're desperate. So that's why people steal. That's why there's crime.
Yeah.
And it's because they are desperate.
Yes.
They don't see they will never catch up to those people in the cloud. Never. So why not? Why not just take? It's against the law, but it's also desperation. What else are they going to do?
And capitalism is doing that to us. We are allowing capitalism to continue to do that to us.
Yep.
When Droxine says the complete separation of toil and leisure has given Ardana this perfectly balanced social system, why should we change it? This is the, the ruling owner class will never change the system to benefit the working class because it will disrupt their own benefit.
Right.
And that's where that feeling of that loss of privilege, the idea of if I give you rights, somehow that takes away from mine.
They have all the power and they're untouchable. That's why the disruptors, which I actually like the name, are in there destroying their art and letting them know that they're I've been in here. I'm going to leave my knife on the wall. They need to let them know that they've got something to lose.
The Disruptors is another band name. We haven't done those lately.
Nice. We haven't done any t-shirts. We need some.
No, I know. I gotta figure that out.
We need some band t-shirts.
Yeah. I came up with some designs, but I don't know.
Droxine, though, I think
Droxine's going to be fun. Yeah.
You got to do that shirt.
Hey, did anybody die in this episode?
One died in this episode. Wrote a rhyme about it. Want to hear it? Here we go.
Sometimes that just tickles the hell out of me.
Dead, Jim.
We are assembled here today to pay final respects to our honored dead.
A troglodyte captured in the cloud. No transport card or permit for repair. He was questioned by the cloud minders. He had no reason for being there. Contrary to belief, he was not inferior. He chose death over torture. He jumped off the balcony and made that his departure.
Oof. I'd forgot about that guy.
I know. I just forgot about him too. I'm like, did someone die? Yeah. But his death was symbolic that he chose death rather than to give up his comrades.
Well, I still can't help but think of Wile E. Coyote flying through the atmosphere, heading towards the Earth, only to leave a coyote-shaped hole in the ground where it
Crater.
lands.
Coyote crater.
And on that note, we'll take a moment to thank our patrons.
Let's get right to business.
Fine, I'm authorized to pay an equitable price. Federation has invested a great deal of money in our training. They're about due for a small return.
Listen, we pay off percentages. We're entitled to a little service for our money, huh?
Is this the way your citizens do business? Their right of petition?
They pay their percentages and the boss takes care of them.
Is there anything else?
We want to thank everybody who supports the show, but we especially want to thank our founding admirals. A special thanks to Russell, Allie, Peter, Sarah, and Sherry. Thank you all so very much. And now, as usual, here's another character bit or funny clip of Allie or I trying to pitch you on becoming a patron.
Well, hello there, interstellar wanderers. Guinan here, your favorite purveyor of wisdom and cosmic cocktails. Now, I've got something to tell you about a little podcast called Humanist Trek. I know. I usually deal with real-life space-time drama at 10 Forward, but this one's worth a listen. You see, they're on a mission. Laughter, exploration, and all that jazz. First off, leave a review, share the love like it's a secret ingredient in a warp core breach. Spread it around, and let the galaxy know what's what. For those feeling a bit more philanthropic and just wanting to splurge some Federation credits, become a patron. It's like having a backstage pass to the holodeck, but better. Early access to episodes, exclusive merch that's cooler than a Ferengi's profit margin, and bonus content like personal logs. Imagine Spock, but funnier. Oh, and did I mention reactions to those very short treks? It's like watching Klingons try to line dance. Pure entertainment. So it's time to join the fleet. Do yourself a favor. Head over to patreon.com/humanisttrek. It's the cosmic investment in laughter and the kind of support that makes the universe a brighter place. Trust me, it means a lot to them. And hey, it might just brighten up your journey through the stars too. Cheers.
I assume you're loitering around here to learn what efficiency rating I plan to give your cadets.
Trainees, to the briefing room. Is that all you gotta say? What about my performance?
Aren't you dead?
I don't believe this was a fair test of my command abilities. There was no way to win.
There's no correct resolution. It's a test of character.
Now, what is that supposed to mean?
I am understandably curious.
May I ask you a question?
Who's been holding up the damn elevator?
Becca is back with us now for the answer to this week's Starfleet Academy Cadet Challenge for the Cloud Minders. Remind us all what the question was.
Jeff Corey, who played Placis, was also a director and teacher. In fact, he was an acting instructor for which regular TOS actor?
I said Jimmy Doohan, and Allie said George Takei. Okay. And the correct answer is...
You were both wrong.
Damn it.
Incorrect.
It was Chekhov, wasn't it?
Nope. You're still wrong. It was Leonard Nimoy.
Wow.
Oh.
No kidding.
Wow.
All right. Well, there you go. Stumped us again.
Mm-hmm. Wrong.
Bitch. All right, next time on Humanist Trek, we'll be reviewing Star Trek, the original series, Season 3, Episode 22, The Savage Curtain. 3 episodes left. We're almost done.
I know.
Kirk and Spock are forced into a battle of good and evil. And the only thing I remember about this is that this is where we see President Lincoln.
Oh, okay.
This is that episode.
Is this the one where there was a rock monster?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the episode that they did a reenactment of on the cruise last year.
All
I
right.
think.
When you say rock monster, my brain goes, rock monster! Rock lobster. No?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I think is this the one with the rock monster?
I think it is. There's only 3 episodes left. It's got to be.
I don't know.
What's our question for the Savage Curtain?
Lincoln tells Kirk, there is no honorable way to kill, no gentle way to destroy.
Okay.
There is nothing good in war except its ending. Is this line taken from an actual Abraham Lincoln speech, or is it fiction?
Fuck.
Is this so it's a true or false?
Yeah. Yeah, it could be restated as, this is a Lincoln quote. Is that true or false?
This is real. I'd say it's real.
I think it is too. I think this is a genuine Lincoln quote. All right. Well, that was easy. If you want to play along, head over to your social media, share this episode with your answer and the hashtag Starfleet Challenge, and we will pick out a winner. Next time on Humanist Trek, Star Trek, the original series, Season 3, Episode 22, The Savage Curtain.
Diftor Hech Smoosma.
Kapla!
Humanist Trek is available wherever you replicate your podcasts. Follow us on all the social medias at Humanist Trek. Become a patron at patreon.com/humanisttrek. Open hailing frequencies to podcast@humanisttrek.com and visit our website, humanisttrek.com. Humanist Trek is a production of Sarah Austin Media.